is good, yo? So it's finally happened. It's finally here. Asta. Oh my lord, let's go. So, as people have been getting spoiled time and time again with not only the very beginning of the whole entire show, it's not really a spoiler, as much as it's something that led up from episode 1 all the way to episode 62, and that is the curse that Asta pretty much has been bearing. I call it a curse because that's the closest thing we've gotten to know anything about it. So instead of it being, I guess it could be a demon curse, but from or I'm understanding, it's literally coming down to the end of it all. When it comes down to like the surprises and stuff, and I honestly, I mean, if they can make more surprises, by all means, show me. But to think that something like this is finally being shown, it just makes me hopeful that either A, the show is really getting into its like end game, because I mean, even a human that can absorb energy surpassed a spirit this week's episode. So not only are certain characters breaking limits and surpassing limits? Oh man, did they go back in time and show us every single moment of growth between the characters like we didn't watch them already? That was pretty ridiculous, but it makes sense seeing how this episode is going to have the start of something crazy uh next week, so I understand where they're coming from when it comes down to they just wanted to hide that aspect of leaving a whole episode to Asta just going nuts and trying to beat a guy who is stronger than even the salamander that we saw at probably its raging power, because it's literally a human taking it all and amplifying it into himself. So I'm absolutely hyped to see what he can do, because I mean, this is like a power unheard of, but if you think about it, if he can't do much of anything, imagine someone that would have to then come along to even give that transformation that Asta's about to attain a challenge. Someone has to come along and actually be able to defeat that. So always keep that in mind when new powers emerge. And I think this is also what I've been talking about previously with Yuno and just Asta in general, is how Asta has been slowly but surely catching him. And because of that, we're about to see the last little bit of pull or, push that he needs to literally catch up and maybe even surpass him. So I'm really, what the heck am I doing? I'm really just so happy that I kept up with this show. Uh, I did have every episode since it started uh, reviewed, but that's neither here nor there. I got to at least talk to you guys about all of it up till now, and I can't be any more happier than that, because now learning so much about how Asta was going about, caring and going about being boosted by each other and not using his friends, he's now in a situation where only his friends can use him to live, which is ironic, seeing how, he wanted them to continuously grow as he does. It's kind of hard to when he skyrockets like how he is in this week's episode. Not to mention, before he even has this thing happen, he straight up was going in on a guy who is very powerful regardless, and to throw that sword from where he was as quick as it happened, and he couldn't even like react to it, just tells you how far Asta's just normal skill has gotten. So we're really barely seeing Asta scratch the surface, I feel like, and him accepting Mars and accepting him for the reason why he did, just gives more of a powerful clarity of where, his combat and his heart is going. Because not only did he trust someone that he's fought before, mainly because of his teacher, but then he goes and, you know, straight up protects the guy with his life, knowing that there's other people he's got to protect. And he doesn't like ask for anything or expect anything because that's just how he is. But then after all that's being said and done, he then throws that sword in the guy, and the guy is begging for his life, asking, for the sword to be pulled out. And because Asta's been tricked enough times, he's not gonna do that, and he straight up says it out loud and everything. So it's one of those tropes that are supposed to happen in anime, but because they went away from it, they then created a whole new path that they can then create for this villain to look even cooler than, oh, this guy pulled out the sword and now I get to act like a total douche. Like, we get it, the guy's evil and he'll do whatever, but if our character is smart enough to see that, why is he still allowing it to happen? And Asta doesn't allow it to happen, which gets the character to do something completely different and figure out a way to remove the sword by using pretty much all of the magic he has to blast himself away from Asta to get space, and then use the rest to reinforce his hand, kind of like how he got punched, and he put it all into just his grip into pulling it out, gets it out, threatens the girl with the fire with Salamander, and because of that, she brings out Salamander, and he absorbs her, becomes like an ultra god. Whatever he was already doing was super powerful, and then you just add the problem of what's his face to it. You add Salamander to it. So man, did he get dumb powerful and pretty much could have killed Asta. I feel like he still doesn't understand the concept of, oh, I'm not gonna let my guard down and blah blah blah. I was like, well, you're kind of playing with your food, and that's worse than letting your guard down. That's giving your opponents a chance to get angry and come back at you. So you obviously haven't learned anything from Asta slapping you just a little while ago. So I don't know. It's hilarious to me to see this guy um, trying to be all the using people and the climbing up. Just all of it is hilarious to me, just by the way he goes about it, and finding out that he really isn't nothing when it even comes down to someone with no magic and just has all heart. So a great way of showing that this show has so much more potential to live is this teaser of Asta going into this crazy looking form, man. Just seeing his hand like get lit up with the black flames, just seeing one of his red eyes and the other eyes covered in shadow, just man, bro, they picked such a beautiful way to animate it. I know it's probably done page by page from the manga, so if that is the case, even more mwah, beauty to it. But if not, and they came up with their own unique little way to present it, super super dope, and I loved it. The one thing that kind of hurt this episode was just how much flashbacks and talking about things that literally just happened 3 episodes ago. Like they really were pushing the boundaries of, hey, we're going to literally verbatim show you everything that happened up to this point because why not? We need to stall. Like instead of filler, these guys are the stall kings. So be prepared for more stalling um, in future like events like this. So a show like this usually shows its cards on how it's going to handle huge moments, and this is one of those things I feel like they're doing. They're just 100% proving the point of, hey, we know you guys want to see this, but we also know that We want to make the episode look as clean as possible throughout the whole episode compared to other episodes where they kind of just let some things dip off and some things look amazing. Kind of like this week's episode. You can tell from the deflections. Like once he's deflecting the things for the first time in front of Mars, and then you see it from like there's one perspective he deflects it, and then it goes in from like us looking straight at him and face to face. Those two animated moments right there are gonna probably be um well the second one's gonna be more of the highlight. I feel like when it comes down to the next like next week's episode, we're just gonna see that non-stop pretty much. So expect it to look quite beautiful if they're smart anyway and do what I expect them to do and put a good amount of animation into this episode alone, which would be intelligent, but I am not I'm not a studio that makes anime. So what do I know? I'm just a fan. But yeah, let me know down below if the manga is anywhere near close to this stuff that we're being showed, if any of this is just anime exclusive type of stuff, because it feels definitely well written and thought out, this whole entire power struggle, and even knocking the energy ball into somebody to taking out one huge threat so another threat can be handled as quickly as possible to then bring in a threat that they thought might not have been as worse, but turns out it is. So very good stuff there. Um, Even the part of him attaining even more power, because you got to imagine the first time he came back and he had all that power was thanks to her in the first place, and then now we got to add it at almost its full potential because she literally is thinking that Mars is going to die and she's going to use as much as she could to literally take him out. And I think she emptied the tank on him, so I can't wait to see what happens. The previews kind of mess up it all when it comes down to the bad guy, but I'm not going to touch on that because it's kind of pointless. And if you've seen the previews, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, with that, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I think there's going to be maybe 3 videos. I was thinking of how many videos I might be dropping. I know for sure Tokyo Ghoul Re will be coming out very soon, or at least today. So if you guys subscribe and keep your ears and eyes open for that, and drop some likes and some comments down below on there. I don't know what the heck's gonna happen, but I definitely want you guys to be there because I enjoy your guys' support, and I definitely want to know more about how you guys are feeling about certain animes that you guys are passionate about, because that's what also I want to make this channel about is the comments. I read them all, and I enjoy talking to you guys. So I hope you enjoy your day, evening, night, morning, whenever the case is you're watching this. And I hope you take care of my anime people. So with that, peace.